beauty secrets, anything you want to know. So, in today's topic, we're going to dive deep into what makes healthy and toxic relationships. I know with social media, things are going crazy with Liz and Landon. So, I guess me and Kathy, we want to share our experience that we learned throughout our early 20s and what we learned from it and how we can proceed. So, Kathy.
Yes, that's a hot topic right now. Let's talk a little bit about it because I feel like every woman should have knowledge of how to get into a successful relationship or how to, help make it work while you are in a relationship. Sometimes we're a little bit clueless about that because you go in with all your feelings and you try to be, authentically yourself and be honest and everything, but that's sometimes not what works with men, honestly.
No.
You have to be very careful with your words, even if you are the most independent woman in the world. Men want to feel like they have a role in your life. They are taking care of you, they are helping you, in your life, in your goals, and anything, and that they can feel useful. And when that gets taken away because you are such an independent, do it all by yourself woman, they feel like they have no purpose and in the relationship and being with you. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a very strange dynamic of why they feel like that. But again, men are run through logic, women are run through emotion. So for men, they really have to adapt to those three P's, which is protect, provide, produce. So when
exactly.
we demasculate them, their sense of logic is like, then why am I here? So
Exactly.
for example, in my experience, like I remember I was going on a date and I was telling the guy like, "Oh, like, can you help me order an ice cream? Something basic." I was like, "Can you ask the waiter what they have?" Like I was acting pretty naive. I know I could get my own ice cream. But he even told me like there's something about you that's just exotic, alluring. Like you make me like if want to fight a guy right now for you to protect you. And it's just because I'm making him do the work. I'm making him do the small things. And I've seen
Exactly.
that too. Like I don't know from your experience, like me and Kathy have a different upbringing, but it's very similar. Like my dad is very machismo and all of that, but he's always been the breadwinner and he's always been one to protect. And my mom, being as wise as she plays dumb sometimes because she knows there's certain ways she could get around my dad.
I love it. I love it. And actually, that's the way that we should behave. You have to act kind of like it's crazy to say it, but you have to act a little bit dumb. Even to open a can. Please, can you help me with this? And they will feel like they're your superhero because they
Yeah.
open the can for you. You know that you can do it yourself, but use their help for
Yes.
the little details, and it will go a long way. They will feel like, oh my god, I'm helping her, poor thing, she doesn't even know how to. And it's like a cute feeling that they feel, I have
Yeah.
to help her, I have to be considerate with her. She needs help for the littlest things, but that's a feeling that they're looking for. They're looking to feel helpful, they're looking to feel like your hero, they're looking to feel like they're taking care of you. And yeah, I guess you just have to, number one, play dumb. Number two, be, even if you are independent, be a little dependent on
Hmm.
them and for certain things. And this is very important. Even though if you're a successful woman that you're making your money, and always play it like you make a little bit less, like you don't make that much, because at the end of the day, you as a woman have to be the one responsible for savings. I know that men, a lot of men are very good with money and they have savings and everything, but in
Hmm.
case that's not the case, you have to, put a little bit of money aside for you. Why? Your exit escape, in case, they cheat on you, they do something, you end up like as we all may know, Liz.
Yes.
See, right now she's going through something very, the wizard Liz. I don't know if you all know her. She's going through a really tough time. She's pregnant, and her boyfriend or fiance, I don't know if he's her husband, fiance, Landon, I don't know,
Probably
but
husband.
I think it's husband. Okay,
Yeah.
he cheated on her. Okay, now she's pregnant. Imagine if she doesn't have a job, or well, all women when we're pregnant at some point we have to leave our jobs, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
have to always have a security net. You always have to have like a cushion in your bank account, something that is there for in case you lose your place of living if you live with him, if you lose, your job because you're pregnant. So many things can happen, and you need to have a security net. Number one, for your self-confidence, for you to know that you got yourself in case that man doesn't got you at the end of the day. For you to feel that confidence,
Yeah.
that has to happen. Number two, in case they fucked up, for to say it like it is, and you don't have anywhere to go. You, like I said, so many things can happen. So that has to be in place, and that security net is invisible for them. O sea, you don't have to talk about it. That's for you, for your security, for you to feel good that if they do something that is not right, you will be okay. You don't have to depend on them. But in the surface, you have to make it look like you depend on them. But
Mm-hmm.
inside of you, you know that, you got yourself.
Yeah, you really have to enjoy the process of being in the feminine state
Mm-hmm.
because I know we're talking about like you gotta play dumb, but you really have to enjoy it. You have to enjoy being soft. If not, it's not gonna work.
Right.
So also you always want to have security too. Is also like example, you have future kids, you have your kids, you're always gonna be the one they run to for protection and that sort when it's the man isn't present, you're the next one up.
Absolutely.
So always have that. You always want to, I always say, work on yourself as much as possible, even when you are in the relationship. One thing I did notice with the whole Q&A I saw in the video, she mentioned that she doesn't have to be with Landon, but she wants to be there because she was financially secured and everything's going well. Yes, that's good, but you always want to include your partner of I guess I always say put yourself in their shoes. How are they going to be receptive to it? Because before you open your mouth, you want to acknowledge how someone else might feel. The way we perceive things isn't probably like how someone else would perceive it. Sometimes we hit a nerve without even knowing it because we all have different upbringings, different experiences, different environments. So we just want to bring that up. Um, I guess I will share an experience. When I was younger, I did have a shared account with my ex-boyfriend, and it's a big no, don't do it. So, Kathy, you're wise
I
on
mean,
that.
you can do it. It's not like you cannot do it, but you always have to have like yours, separate, like
Yeah.
one that is not uh, seen by them. And it is not about hiding things or anything. It's about
Mhm.
you, your security, your stability, your well-being. Because at the end of the day, can you really trust fully on your partner? That there's a lot of things to consider before trust it is 100% stable with another person. And the things to consider and the things that play a role in that is number one, time. How long have you been with them to know that they're really, are going to be a consistent force in your life that you can 100% trust in them. And that takes, years to be with someone that you can really be sure that you can trust them fully. So before that is in place, you have to make sure that you don't disclose exactly how much you have saved or how much you have in your private account or anything. But I think it's a really good thing that you both can have an account that is together, and that you can put some money in there for trips and things like that.
Yeah.
It's always super helpful, but you have to have your own on the
It has
side.
to be better, like if it's a whole new bank account with you guys together, not someone else coming into their bank account, because that's what
Exactly.
the mistake I did. But I
Oh,
also
okay.
had pressure from my family. Well, just do it. You guys have been together for 5 years, and I'm just like, "But I don't want to. Why does he have to come to my account? Why can't I go to his?" But it's also like you want to take into account their spending habits, everything. So
Yeah.
I was very young, very dumb, but we all learn from it.
We
So
all make mistakes. We all make mistakes, honestly. In your 20s, I think that is the stage of your life to make mistakes, to base yourself on what you know, but also gain experience of what you go through. So I don't think you did wrong. 5 years is a long time with a person to be able to trust them. So if he showed you different, that's unfortunate, but that help you, that experience help you to know how to strategize better in your next relationships, on the financial side. It's not always about the financial side, but at the end of the day, when they have access to your financials, that is really delicate because some people, not some people, but some men can get really resentful when you break up with them or when the relationship doesn't work for X,
yeah,
Y, Z, and you never know if they're gonna take everything away from you. He
they
can,
really view us as their property. It's very old school. So
right,
I know we're
right.
in the modern Muse eras, but they still want to feel like they own us. They still want to feel like we're the only one for them, and also who doesn't want to feel like that? We also want to feel like we're the only one for them too. But
Right.
again, we don't come on here to talk bad about Liz and Landon. They're still very young. Of course, we don't agree with cheating, but there's a lot to learn from Liz's side. She's still in her mid 20s, I believe. She's still growing, she's still evolving, and she's only going to come back better from this. So,
Is she
Kathy,
in
I
her
have a
mid 20s?
question for you. What do we mean? What is a healthy masculine and a feminine?
Okay. Healthy masculine, I think, is someone that, a man, obviously, that is mature enough and stable enough to provide, number one,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
to provide not only monetarily, but to provide support, emotional comfort to the woman, and stability. Okay, those are four important pillars that a man has to provide for a woman to be able to flourish fully in the relationship. Now, um, inside of those four pillars, of course, there's more to it. There's many things that have to happen to be able to fully feel what a healthy masculine is. Obviously, the
Mm-hmm.
healthy masculine is respectful, is emotionally balanced, is it has been through self-discovery, and it has been through several things that takes to really know yourself deeply, as well as the woman has to go through that self-discovery period to get to her feminine self and her soft self, to be able
Mm-hmm.
to surrender to the masculine, because the masculine is the one who makes the decisions. The
Yeah.
masculine is the one who leads, and you have to be able to follow, you have to be able to trust, you
Mm-hmm.
know and I'm not telling you that the man has to make all the decisions, but you have to make him think that he's making all the decisions. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like a very delicate ground, into what is the role of each. But I think the woman role as a feminine is more like persuasion, more like softness, more like, okay, baby, what we're going to do, these are the options, what do you think is best? So you offer them options, and you make them think they made the choice, but at the end of the day, you're just giving them options that you feel comfortable with. For example, something as simple as, you know what I would love, my baby. I would love to go on a vacation, and I was thinking maybe going to this place or that place. What do you think? Two places that you equally love, but they're gonna make the decision of what of those two places, and then they're gonna feel like, okay, she follows my lead. I'm doing, I'm doing this. I came up with this. Okay, but you're giving them the options of what
Mm-hmm.
you like, so you don't care what they choose really, but you're making them think they made the choice. So it's like, they may
Yes,
take credit
ma'am.
credit for it, just like equally when you are trying to open the can. You make them think that they made this big effort into helping you. At the end of the day, you know that you can open it, but you make them feel that by giving them the choice of taking the lead. And also being very aware of your value as a woman is very important, because sometimes, and I went through this myself, and it's really tough because you want to be nice, you want to help, and you want to, you know contribute contribute as much as you can to another person's lives, and obviously to the man that you like, and you're going out and everything. So I made this mistake in my 20s, and I wanted to help. I wanted to, it's not like 50-50 or anything, but when we went to a restaurant, for example, I will offer to, help.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not the half of it or anything, but I will offer to help. Right now, I wouldn't even think to offer to help. And it's not because I was too nice. It's because I wanted to equally contribute, but I didn't understand that. In doing that, him of I'm taking power away from him, from his masculinity, to be
Yeah.
able to learn how to provide, and to rely on my own self-worth, that paying for food in a restaurant is not a big of a deal. I'm not asking for him to fund my lifestyle or buy me a car or anything like that. It's just a simple detail of a very big picture of what it takes to have a life together. So
Yeah.
yes, you can help in many ways. For example, if you're if you're a couple, you might offer things that are non-tangible or that don't require money. Like, for example, something as easy as making food, or washing the dishes, or washing his clothes. That all those are things that may cost him money if he doesn't have you, and you can um, contribute with that in the relationship. I'm not telling you to do everything for him in the household or anything, but those are things that you can contribute with. Even though that he contribute with the money, you contribute with labor that you do in their everyday situation and their everyday living, that are equally important, that you can do. So what can you offer that is non-monetarily to a man, that they can appreciate, that can make their life easier? And those are things that are equally valuable.
Yeah, so let us know in the comments like what tips you guys want to know so we could dive in deep more. But a lot of things do come for persuasion in the girl side, and a lot of girls struggle with that. They start to get very masculine, and then that's when we lose our power. So, for example, a lot of I would say the unhealthy feminine ways are your tone of voice. If you start getting very not aggressive, but I guess it starts coming more harsh and strong in your tone, you start to lose the man. You guys are now in competition. I
Absolutely.
Another thing is when you start demanding them to give you money, especially if you just are like barely dating, they're gonna be like, this girl's just interested in my money.
Exactly.
When in reality, it's probably not that. You're just interested in going out on a date with them, but they're thinking you're gonna fund their whole lifestyle, like you said,
Right.
Kathy. Another thing would be if you're struggling to persuade them, I always say, like, maybe listen, if you guys are on a road trip, for example, or traveling, you guys could put, like, let's say you guys are discussing a topic like money. How do we get more money? And you want to motivate him. You could put a podcast. Maybe someone's talking about money. And because you two are listening to it, it's going to send cognitive waves into him like, okay, maybe I should do that. Maybe I should take that into account. Maybe that nice vacation sounds nice for both of us. You guys have to really sell him the dream.
Right,
And that's where
right.
our power is. We
Yes,
have to
yes.
send them the
That's your
fantasy.
most
They love
powerful tool.
fantasy.
Tell him the future that you want, that you ambition, and make him fall in love with that future too, you know, and the way that you express it with your words.
Yeah, give them the illusion, start seducing them like,
Exactly.
ooh,
Paint
like,
a picture of this grand, beautiful world, because we actually, as women, we make the world beautiful. We create, you know,
we do.
life. You know, a man can be fulfilled by the life that you create, giving them children, making their world more beautiful, more valuable. You can paint the picture of the, if you don't want children, of the perfect life together where you both are a power couple and you're traveling the world, or whatever it is that your goal is in life. You can, you know, obviously the man has to be aligned with your goals and what where you're gonna go in the future and what your vision of your future is. That's something that is very important to find out in the beginning, because I know so many couples that in the middle of the relationship, 1 year in the relationship, 2 years in, they start figuring out where each want to go, and it's two different roads, like
Yeah.
totally opposite things, you know. Oh, I want to go to Germany to work as an employee of this, but your work is, for example, in Miami, and you cannot move from Miami because that's where your work is at, and it's like two different visions of where you see each other in the future. And that's what the first few days are for you to figure it out if that person have the same goals as you, the same vision of the future as you, and you can intertwine that in one road that you both are happy with, one future that you both can see each other in.
Yeah, and to pick up on that, I think a lot of people get stuck on it because I've had comments in previous videos were like, but there's more options now. It's social media. Hello, newsflash. That is your fault. If you think you have so many options, it's your fault because you're not really taking the time to get to know people one by one. And if you're going on multiple dates and just meeting them once, you're not really seeing the value in people. You're devaluing them and going to the next better option that probably is just more physically more attractive and can provide you the lifestyle you want and it doesn't
Right.
align. So I think it's more take the time to get to know someone. If you connect with someone, really, really take the time to get to know them. But there's not many souls you could connect with in a deeper level. There's only a few, and I think that's where a lot of people get trapped in this social media game.
Yeah,
So,
and it's super important as well as the person is open and
mhm,
communicative, because when you are just wondering what the other person is thinking, when you're just wondering what their emotions are and everything is really vague, that's the biggest red flag.
yeah.
You know, when you feel like you're not being listened to, when you feel they're not asking the questions that are important,
Mhm.
when the subjects of conversations are vague, and you try to get on the important subjects and they don't really give you the answers or the clarity that you need to feel secure in the relationship, that's the biggest red flag that, you know, you're just wasting your time.
Yeah, and as the women, we hold the portal of who enters and who can get out.
Yeah.
So either you open it and close it. So that is when we give that power away, it's what is the purpose to us? You know, we have
Right,
to
right.
decide and choose wisely, like who do we want to enter because we create, but we also destroy, and that is our lethal power. So with that,
and
what makes
emotions run deep
oh
after
yes.
you're already involved, so it's very important to like filter first before you get emotionally involved, because I am the first one that can tell you by experience how not managing well your emotions can be disastrous for your life. I mean, in my 20s, I didn't have any like self control of what I was feeling. So at the same moment that I was feeling something, I will show it. It will show on my face. It will show in my words. It will show in my tone. It was like a disaster. I didn't know how
Yeah.
to self-regulate,
Mhm.
and that cost me a lot of wasted time on a relationship that actually was not able to survive like all the things that needed to survive. Why? Because I got emotionally involved. I got so uh,
Attached.
yeah, attached, before really figuring out what is it that I want, what is it that um, how is it that I see myself in the future, and if this person really fits the mold. And if you don't do that in the beginning, then you can lose years and years of your life in a relationship where at the end of the day you say, is this really going somewhere? Is this really going where I want to see myself in the future? Is this really the person that I can trust and everything? And for the littlest things, you can explode because number one, that person is not even fitting your future.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, they're making you waste your time. Number three, it's like they are also attached, so they're in their relationship. They don't want to let you go because yes, they can be in love and everything, but is love really enough? I don't think love is really enough to keep a relationship. You can be super in love, but if they don't fit what your vision of your future is, you know love is not enough
Love
to keep
just
it
goes out
alive.
the window at that point. But honestly, there's a lot of factors that go into it, and another thing that makes a woman not the healthiest is being in control, wanting
Mm-hmm.
to control every situation of the outcome, and in that situation, you can be in control, but I feel be selective and strategic in which things you want to control. That way, I don't want to say the word manipulate, but align it more towards you where it benefits you without hurting the other individual. But I want to get into the topic of what makes men not the healthiest masculine. And to me, that's someone that is dominant, fragile masculinity, where he feels like his ego is needs to be stroked in a different way. For example, cheating.
Mm-hmm. And
Another
you
one
know how
is
you realize that from the beginning? I'm gonna give you the biggest
tell us the
tip
breakdown.
to everyone. The biggest tip when you realize that. Number one, he has a wandering eye.
Oh
When
yes,
you see another woman that is good looking passing in front of you guys and you see him looking at her.
yeah.
And it's about respect. Does he even have enough respect for you to not look at other women in front of you?
Mm-hmm.
Because if he's looking in front of you, what what is he doing when you're not there? Talking to them, opening the door for something else to happen. That is like the biggest takeaway. Number two is, does he really get jealous when
Mm-hmm.
any other man comes close to you? Because if he's jealous, he's afraid of losing you, and he also is afraid of that something happens that can break your guys' bond or your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And number three, I think it would be, does he have an interest of spending time doing other things that does not involve you? When
Mm-hmm.
the man is really just wanting to spend time with you all the time, does he really wants to cheat? I don't think so, because he just wants to spend the most time as he can with you. But
Yeah.
when he has other more important things, no, I'm gonna go out with my friends to this and that. I think it's healthy. Yes, it can be, moderate. But when his first priority, it will be to hang out with you, to spend time with you,
Mm-hmm.
and that is the biggest takeaway, that he just wants to get to know you or spend the most time that he can with you because he enjoys you so much.
Yeah, one thing I know is men and women will always tell on themselves. It doesn't matter who you are, but people always show you who they are with time, and we have to have an observant eye and an open
Mm-hmm.
mind to really get the information because everything you have questions about, It's there, it's shown, but sometimes love is blind and we ignore it, we ignore the
Right,
signs.
right.
But yeah, you really have to look into factors. I could give you an example too. My ex-boyfriend said he was never jealous. And I challenged him, like, how are you not jealous? None of that. And sometimes it doesn't even involve cheating. It could mean they just play for the other team. Um, he
Okay, yeah,
wasn't
that's a big
jealous.
factor.
So I had the suspicions he was playing for the other team. I
And that
asked him,
did he
like,
play for the other team, really? Or it was
he
just a
never confirmed it, but there were signs. Because I remember I asked him, "Do you think you're attracted to the other side of the team?" And he would always be like, "Hmm, I don't think so." I was like, "The fact that you had to take three
the
seconds
fact
to
that
think
you
about
took
it."
3 seconds to think about that is worrisome.
Yeah, and then there was like other things too, but they're too TMI to share, I feel.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
No, 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 no.
So girls, they always tell on themselves, be observant, but I ignored it because it was so fresh into the honeymoon phase.
Right, right. No, and I bet that was in your early 20s when you barely, know how to identify like
Yeah, I
certain
was only like
aspects of a person.
21, 20.
Yeah, you really have no
Didn't really
idea.
have a boyfriend.
Yes, yes, yes. No, later on in life, you understand a little bit more what is a masculine traits in a man and what it will signal you that a man is not in totally his masculine and
Yeah.
yeah, it's super obvious,
The do's
after
and
some
don'ts of what
life
you want.
experience. With I don't have anything against, a man liking other men, but obviously I will not be attracted to one that likes other men. So that's like,
Yeah.
something that is harsh to like even think of. That you like a man that
Yeah.
likes other men, and that can really hit you big in your self-esteem because it's not even your fault or anything. You can be the most beautiful inside and out woman in the world, and you suddenly you chose someone that is just onto other things, and it's just really unfortunate because it can hit
Yeah.
you really big. In the way that you think of yourself when you haven't really done anything wrong. You just chose the wrong person.
Yeah, and the thing is, women, our time is very valuable because this was my early 20s. I was with him for 5 years, that one relationship. And they always say women expire at age 28. It's not true. Don't let them say that.
Yeah.
But we do have a biology time clock
At age
too.
28, I will say is your biggest wake up call because,
Yes.
like, your year of where you wake up to the real you, the dimension of you that is truly gonna stay
Mm-hmm.
for the long period. Because at 28, it was like my biggest year for me to wake up into like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Okay, this is what I want, this is
Yeah,
what I'm not gonna allow, this is your values and your standards change to another level because
they
in the beginning
do.
you're just playing a life, seeing what's happening, what experiences you can. But at
Mm-hmm.
28 you're almost reaching 30, which is your the stable, some sort of maturing process of your life when you say, okay, what am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
What is it that I'm gonna grab from all my experiences in my 20s to finally hit the goals that I want to hit, to finally have the life or start building at least the life that I wanna get to, and
Yeah,
get
the
serious
life you
about it.
desire, the life of your wishes,
Exactly.
because our brain isn't fully developed until 25. But can you imagine? I remember being 25. I didn't really start taking action until I was 26. Like it was getting there, like, okay, it's starting to get concrete,
Yeah.
but the action wasn't following. But the fact that you're able to think, like, something's up, something's not right,
Yeah, at
and there,
28 is like I will say that is the point where you say, I'm not gonna waste my time anymore.
yeah,
It's like, I'm not about to waste time anymore. Things are going to be different from now on. And then when you hit 30, it's like, yes, you're starting to realize those dreams and those standards that you set up for yourself at your 28. When
yeah,
you're 28, that you're not able to take any crap anymore, that you're not about to waste your time anymore,
Yeah.
and you get serious with your manifestation and things start happening for you to manifest the life that you truly desire, that is truly aligned with who you are, with the core of who you are. Because I would say that at 20 we are very confused. Well, at least I was very confused into what I wanted, who I was, what certain characteristics are make me Catherine, make me who I am.
Yeah,
So
there's a lot of factors because I remember too my upbringing is like go to school, do that. But at 20 when I was 25, I was like I knew this relationship wasn't working out for me. At 26, I broke it off, but at 26, okay, this is what I mean. Like we create and we destroy. So at 26, I destroyed the relationship I had, but at 26, I created my company, Resilient Skin Co. So as you know, Catherine and I both have a company that we started, but there's a lot of hurdles that you have to go through in your 20s. It breaks you or it makes you. And even now, as you reach your 30s, you just have to keep going and become this version you want to become so you could attract the life you want. So, ladies, don't
exactly,
be afraid. Get really
believe
confident
yourself,
and
believe in yourself.
unapologetic with what you want.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's a key takeaway that honestly is not enough said.
Mhm.
Um, you can reach your goals. It's gonna take time. It's a process, of self-discovery, self-development, that you work on yourself until you're the person that's able to realize those dreams. And I think realizing and working on yourself in your 20s is going to make you reach those goals faster.
Yeah.
In your 30s, many people, realize what they want, who they want to be, and everything late in their life. For example,
It's
Vera
fine,
one
but you
didn't
need
open
to
her
go through
business
it.
until she was 40. Vera One, very famous designer. Until she was 40, she didn't know what she wanted to do. She didn't know, she didn't have any success. And at 40, she realized what she wanted, and she's one of the most successful fashion designers ever.
Mhm.
Many people realize that late in their life, 50, 40s,
Even the
but
60s, I think the one from KFC, the owner was 60 and he decided to launch his
yeah.
company and became super wealthy.
Right, right. And they do it and they're successful at it when they do it later in life. But
Mhm.
you can start working on yourself earlier and realize those things earlier and take the time that you have for yourself to work on yourself and do those things that will help you, become that version of yourself. Because once you have that relationship and everything, that takes away time from your life
Mhm.
also, that you have to dedicate to that relationship, that you have to dedicate to, if you have a family, you have to dedicate to your family, to your children, to whatever. It takes away time from you to focus on those things that are important to discover before, you know.
But I
Um,
also feel like because you are later in life, it doesn't mean that someone else younger has it all figured out. It doesn't. It's just, it takes more of a journey for us to build the characteristic skills of who we want to become because everything is within us. And for it to attract in the outside world, we have to really become it. And it took me forever when I started my company to adapt this lifestyle of I'm a CEO, I'm an entrepreneur. It took me a long time, but I want to dive in so we don't segment too much out of the conversation. So when we encounter someone cheating on us, like what do you think that creates to someone who is young, Catherine? Like, do you think they start feeling lost in life? It affects them because some people don't really go and pursue the help they need early on. They do it much later, and I think that's what
no, it
delays the whole
affects
process.
everything, honestly. It affects everything. It affects your self-esteem. It affects your self-worth, because they're
Yeah.
not only like damaging, breaking your trust, damaging your emotions and everything inside of you, but then after then you think you're not worthy or what you really, are deserving of. And everything because they make a mistake, but you take it so personal, even though that is not personal. It's about them, it's about who they are, not about who you are. you kind of internalize it, and then you make choices based on how they make you feel. They make you feel
Mm-hmm.
worthless, so then you go with a partner that makes you feel worthless as well, or it's not completely what you want in a partner, so you settle for that because before that you had a guy who cheated on you. So it really affects every single part of your well-being. That's why I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to really make your search and filter, before you get emotionally entangled.
Yes.
What are the characteristics that, you know,
Mm-hmm.
are in a person that will do that to you? And one thing that is truly, truly, really important is if you're a mature woman, I mean, no matter that you're old or anything, but you know what you want, you know your self-worth, um, your value and everything, you know, look for someone that is at least 2 years older than you, and no more than 10 years older than you, between 10 or 2 years older than you. Why? Men mature, later than women. So when you have, your values, your experiences, everything that make you whole, they are just starting to realize at their 30s what you already realized at your 20s.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, are you willing to go through everything, mistakes, their learning process and everything that they have to go through to understand what respect and what values they have to lead their life with? It's a lot, it's a lot to take on. Are you willing to forgive so much someone that is, in the process of maturing and realizing what is um, acceptable to do in a relationship or not? Are you able to teach someone? No, you need someone that already knows, that you don't have to teach them how they have to behave, how they have to respect, how they have to, what are the boundaries that are necessary for a relationship to be healthy and long lasting. So for that,
Vamos a tomar un corte. So to pick up on it, yes, you want to be. It has a lot of emotional consequences, so that causes a lot of confusion in you. And if you don't, if you don't know your boundaries of what's tolerable, what's not tolerable, the pattern's gonna continue, and then that's how we go into these cycles of trauma cycles repeating itself generation per generation. So you want to continue that whole output. So really look into your partner. I think the men don't realize cheating has a long-term effect. It really does affect us long term. It creates damage to the relationship. It cannot be restored even if you have therapy, um, couples therapy. You could work through it, talk it out, but majority of the time people are arguing and things don't get resolved. Those things hit really deep in the wound, and it's just difficult to really really come back from that. Once it's destroyed, sometimes things aren't fixed. Like the best example I could give you is like when we break a glass bottle, it's shattered. You glue it back together. The piece is not fully there as how it was. It's not as beautiful as when you first bought it versus when it got shattered and glued. It still has broken pieces. So, with that, I'm going to end it here. Thanks for joining us. And we'll see you in the next podcast. Be sure to check out Kathy and I at Resilient Skin Co. and Kathy's account at Sky Bliss. Bye.